And welcome to Home-Based Business Review. I'm your host, Carl Douglas. What we do here is we bring on some of the most successful online marketers around the world. And today we have a special guest, Daniel Kump. How you doing there?
I'm fantastic, sir. How about yourself?
You know what? I gotta say, every day you wake up in these days and times, you just never know if you're allowed to even get up out of the bed. So,
every day above ground is a good day.
It is. I tell people, if I go out to a grave site and I put an alarm clock out there, how many people you think is going to get up?
Not many.
Not too many, right? But in the spirit, they're all with us. So let's go ahead and let's talk about the pressing issues. The last time we had you on the show, we had some of our viewers ask some questions, and I want to make sure we address those questions.
Sure.
So right now, as you can tell, what do you think, Daniel, what do you think is stopping most people from achieving their goals? I'll let you take the floor on that one.
Sure. And, first off, it's good to be back. This is round 2, which is kind of cool.
Yes.
I'm actually wearing this, oddly enough, I'm wearing the same shirt, okay. But I'm in a different house. I'm actually in a different town. I'm back in my home now. So,
yes.
I'm in my actual studio / office / second bedroom.
Excellent.
But hey, it works, and it gets the job done. But so yeah, I mean, let's talk about that for a second. And honestly, I'm gonna dive deep into this. I'm gonna go real deep on this, and this is going to, I'm gonna get personal, which I think people need to hear this because this is such a big excuse maker for a lot of people. They get stopped in their own tracks, and really, you guys that are listening to this got to realize you're your own worst enemy. There's nobody else that's going to stop you other than yourself. So friends, family, loved ones, spouses, significant others, any of those, none of those people are going to stop you if you make the decision to figure it out, if you make the decision that you want it bad enough. So I don't know how much, I'm trying to remember how much I dove into this last week, but I'll kind of recap it a little bit if I didn't dive deep into this. So for me, it all started back in, I gave you guys a little bit of the history last week where I talked about, it was early 20s. I got introduced to network marketing, so on and so forth. But for me specifically, it was July of 2016 when I actually made the decision that I was going to make this happen, that I was going to go for it in the online marketing world, because I had dabbled, I had dipped my toes in, and I thought that I went for it. But after I made the decision and I really went for it, then I realized, no, I just told myself that I went for it, but I didn't really go for it because I bailed out before I could, achieve my goals. So I set a goal for myself, and it started with the fact that my wife and I were, financially, we were in a decent place, but we weren't in a great place. I had a 6-figure retail store manager job. We had a nice house, things were okay, but they weren't great. So we were sitting at the dining room table one day, and she had a stack of bills in front of her. I had a stack of bills in front of me. Our son had special needs and, in and out of the hospital constantly, just trying to figure out what was going on. He was undiagnosed for the first 2 years of his life, and we didn't know why he was the way that he was. So, she had mostly hospital bills in front of her. I had household bills and stuff like that in front of me. And she said specifically, I'm sick and tired of this blanking life. And that for me was someone just took a dagger, stuck it in my rib cage and twisted. And at that point, I was I don't know, maybe 6 to 8 months into my online journey. I was signing up for every opportunity under the sun. And I had mentioned a week ago, that guy in the shopping mall with the trench coats, hey, you want to try one of these opportunities over here? And, And I thought I could sign up for all of them, and I thought I would make money just because I signed up, right? But obviously that wasn't true. So once we had that conversation, it was like within a day or two, I had said, that's it. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to go for this. And I made that decision. And once you actually make that concrete decision, you will know and realize it. Most importantly, you will feel it when you make that decision that you're going to go for it. Because everything after that, everything that has led me up to today, I was a rookie. I was a newbie. I was a noob. I was at ground zero. Like, didn't have a list, didn't have any subscribers on YouTube, didn't have a whole thousands of friends on Facebook, didn't have thousands of followers on Instagram. And now I do, because I made that decision. So fast forward, up to today, and this is where I'm going to get real, and this is where I'm going to get deep, is I want everybody to realize that life happens to everyone. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm on this pedestal living the perfect life, because I'm not. I know that, Carl has real life. He has drama. He has people in his life. He has situations that he has to deal with. I also have the same thing. And, like I explained before, we had a special needs son, and he was in the NICU for the first 129 days of his life. For the first 2 years, we didn't know what was wrong with him. He couldn't eat on his own, couldn't crawl, couldn't walk, couldn't speak. We had to feed him through a port in his stomach. But he had an attitude of gold. He would watch Mickey Mouse Clubhouse or the Muppet Babies, and he would laugh and he would giggle, and he would, you would walk into the room and he would lock eyes with you and follow you around the room. And just an amazing, amazing boy. And in the summer of 2019 in June, normal day-to-day routine. We're going through, my wife goes off and teaches kickboxing. I'm sitting with our son, Lucas, on the couch. Normal night, boom, bring him upstairs about 9 o'clock. I put him to bed. And the next morning, he never woke up. He was gone.
Yeah, I understand that, like you said, life do happens to the best of us, but it didn't stop you from living for him. I always say, me and you, we talked the last time. I understand loss, and I do understand life do happens, and I will say that my heart goes out to anyone that's going through or have to go through this period of their life. But we do understand that life goes on, and we're living not just for ourselves, but for those who are no longer with us. Mm-hmm. And that's what brought me through. And I'm saying this to those people who are sitting there. So I just lost someone due to the COVID virus or whatever. But you're still here. We're still here. Mm-hmm. And so I think if anything's going to stop you from that inner strength that you need to pursue greatness, is a loss. Because it's bigger than you.
It literally comes back to, and I know I talked about this last week too, in part one, is that it just goes back to making the decision, because I made a commitment to myself first, and then I made a commitment to my family. And that commitment was we were never going to have to worry about money again. Now, have things been perfect since that decision? No, we've 100% had opportunities. But the point is, I made that decision to go for it, for this family right here. There's my wife, there's my son Lucas. I made that commitment to us, and so when life happened after we lost our son, I did nothing for 2 months. Even in in my notebook here, I have, back in the beginning pages, I have all of my affirmations written down that I said every day. Like, all of those things meant nothing to me. So I had to start from square one, and it took me a good, I'd say 90 to 60 to 90 days before I really kind of got going again, before I would do a video or a Facebook Live or any of those sorts of things, because, life happened to me, and I get that life happens to everybody else, but if you're gonna, insert excuse here or say, oh, I can't, achieve my goals because of excuse, that's all it is an excuse. Like, no one is going to tell me an excuse that to me is greater than me. No one's going to say, well, oh, I had this happen to me. I don't care. For me, it's if you want to lie to yourself and say that you can't achieve something because of XYZ, that's just it. You're lying to yourself. I'm living proof that if you fall down, you can get back up. So if you really want to achieve your goals, just freaking decide that you want to do it. And then you're going to be able to do that. So to answer your question, what's stopping people from achieving their goals? They just don't want it bad enough, and they haven't decided because they're still using excuses to get in their way. But I'm living proof to tell you that you can get the crap kicked out of you and you can get knocked down, just like Rocky, right? But you get back up, and it is worth it. And you just have to have a why that's big enough. You have to make a decision that's strong enough that's going to allow you to keep moving forward. So for me, it's just that. It comes down to a few simple things, but you got to know it deep down. And they say, there's some of the phrases are like, if your why doesn't make you cry, go get another why. But I mean, there's a lot of truth to that, and for me, and this is a perfect example. And, I don't want to use the cliche phrase, everything happens for a reason, because I still haven't figured that reason out, why we lost our son. I haven't, but I'm starting to see different clues to that, because for me, like, I have a primary main business that I drive most of my traffic to. I'm big into list building, monetizing my list, emailing my list, doing all those things that generate income. But for me, it's not about my primary business. Like, my long-term vision and talking about achieving goals is I have created something called the Team Lucas Foundation, and we are now raising money to, it's a two-part deal. We're raising money. We're going to raise over $100,000 this year in 2021, and 50% of that is going to go to research to help support parents that have children with undiagnosed diseases, and the other 50% of that is going to be made available in the form of grants directly to the parents that are living in that situation, because we know what it's like to have a child and not know what's wrong with them. So that is my passion. That is my long-term goal of using an online business to help drive that, so I can help families all around the world. That's really what my big long-term goals are. But if I didn't make that decision, if I didn't commit to it because I said, oh no, that goal's too big, then I wouldn't be going after it. So, to make a very simple question a long answer, you just got to want it bad enough, and you got to decide. That's it.
Yes, I totally agree with you. Now, let's go over some more different things that can stop a person, achieving those goals. So let's talk about that. People make up excuses. Let's talk about those excuses. When you talk to an individual, number one thing they're going to say is, I don't have the money. I don't have the time.
Yep.
Like you said, those are excuses, because they do have the money and they do have the time. We live in a world about credit cards. We live in a world, if they really want it bad enough, they go sell something, have a garage sale, sell something online. You don't have to go out and have a garage sale, because you can go online and sell something to make enough money to start.
There's an app for that.
There's an app. So those are definitely excuses. And like you said, they don't want it bad enough, or they don't believe in you, who is their mentor. Somewhere along the line, they test you. They said those excuses, but you didn't have anything to come back and say, hey, here's how I'm going to overcome that. You have to ask the right kind of questions. I always tell people, always ask the right kind of questions, and you will get the right kind of answers. And therefore, and here's the tip. You don't make it you. You don't brag about how much money you're making in this particular company. You ask the questions directed to the person that you are talking to. Find out what they want. Find out what they need. Find out the reason why they want to do what they want to do. And guess what? they're going to feel that you care about them. If you can get them into their reality, or their fantasies, or their dreams, they're going to start believing in you as a mentor.
Yeah, and as a mentor or leader or upline or whatever, when you're connecting with people, asking open-ended questions is huge.
Yes.
You know, besides the obvious, like, do you want to get started? You know, asking open-ended questions, and I ask that too, specifically, like, why do you want a home-based business, or why do you want a business online? And then when you ask open-ended questions, people will open up and they'll actually tell you, you know, specifically. And usually it starts with money. But then you can money is surface level. And then you can dive deeper and you can find out why someone actually wants to do what they do, so you can truly help them get to that point. And I mean, excuses, Carl, are just that. They're excuses, and it's limiting beliefs. One of the ways, now here's kind of like a pro tip, but one of the ways, especially when people use time, you know, I don't have time. So I break it down to people where I do this thing called time blocking and chunking, where I'll write down, I mean, this is, you know, real life. This is my notes for this week. Every time I write down a task, I write it down. I write down every task that I want to get done per day, per week, per month, whatever. So that way it's always in front of me. But then you got to ask yourself, okay, one of the things I like brand new people to be able to do, people that come onto our team, is to time block. So like, everybody has a life, you know, everyone's got jobs, maybe kids, spouses, significant others, all those things. But when you really look at your time frame per week, you know, we all have to be real with ourselves. When people say they don't have time, they're lying. Because if you look at the hours per day and you look at the hours per week, everyone can carve out anywhere between 1 to 10 to 15 hours a week that they could segment either on different days. So I get people to say, okay, when can you dedicate time this week to your business and every week going forward? Well, and then when you start talking to people and they start thinking and they start talking out loud rather than just saying, oh, I don't have time, they can say, well, you know, on Tuesday nights, I'm usually free after 8 o'clock. Okay, cool. So let's block out 8 to 10 on a Tuesday night every single week. And then they're like, oh, well, you know, Saturday mornings, it's pretty quiet around the house. Well, can you get up an hour earlier? Well, sure. So how about from 6 to 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, you can also dedicate to business time. And then we start isolating points on a calendar saying, hey, this is my business time. This is my time to get in and learn and grow and develop my skills and skill sets and work my business. Okay. So you time block, you set that into a calendar. Then you got to take it a step further. If you have family or other household members, you literally got to put up, you know, the banners, the red flags, and you got to say, this is my time. Don't interrupt me during this time. This is my time to build and grow my business. I'm focused on the long term. I'm focused on our future. This is my time. Leave me alone. So the kids know, the spouse knows, the significant other knows, they know not to bother you. This is my time. Then what you can start doing is you can start writing down your long-term goals and activities that you want to get done that day, that week, that month. And you can start chunking that down into small bite-sized pieces. So if you want to, you know, you want to learn how to set up a daily campaign that's going to broadcast to your list 7 days a week, you can start with 1 day and 1 email. And then you can work your way up to 2 emails per week, 3 emails per week, 4 emails per week. And you can use that time that you've blocked out to learn how to go get copy, write copy, schedule an email to go out. And you can start chunking your way towards the larger goal, doing it in that time block time. So when you actually open up the door and have the conversation with somebody, you can actually realize that they do have the time. They do have the time. They're just, sometimes you got to ask the right questions and you got to get out of your own way.
Yes. Thank you for answering that question, Daniel. I have a very important question I need to ask you. I've been hearing this a lot. And commitment, first of all, you just said, you go ahead and you start. You put action to your start. You got a good mentor. Things are going well. But what happens? Why do people sign up for companies? And here comes the question. Why do people sign up for companies and go chase another shining object that's coming down the tracks?
They do that because there's several reasons, and there's several surface level reasons, and there's several deeper level reasons. The surface level reasons are it's all over the place. It's not just on Facebook or social media or whatever. The dangling shiny object is everywhere. There's advertising everywhere. And we kind of tapped into this a little bit last week, but there's information all over the place telling us that we suck. Because if you just watch TV, you'll see, makeup commercials, hair product commercials, weight loss commercials, drug commercials telling you that if you have this disease or that disease or this, ailment or that ailment, you need to take these drugs. But, oh, by the way, here's all the side effects. Like, there's information everywhere telling us that we're not good enough. And it's kind of the same mindset, the same mentality that when we are 1000% in a microwave scratch ticket mentality where everything is instant gratification. The internet, I want information. Boom, I go to my phone, I get the information within seconds. Unfortunately, people also think that they can start and build an online business and they can earn income within seconds. But that's where the shiny ball syndrome comes from, is they see the dangling shiny objects. Hey, you can earn this by doing this. Or they see friends on their timeline saying, hey, I just made $500 from sending out one email. Come join me, or comment down below if you want to join my business. And it's like, ooh, Bobby Sue just was able to do that. Let me go over here and do that. But the sad part is, and this is where you start to dive deeper, is you got to realize that the people that are doing that are dangling the shiny object all over the place, are either, number one, struggling themselves, and they're just trying to grow their business. Nobody will hit you up in your inbox if they're doing amazing. If their business is cranking, they're not reaching out trying to inbox you, telling you to join their business, because they don't care, because business is good and things are running and pumping. The people that are struggling and trying to get started and trying to grow their business and trying to get a result are going to be the ones hitting you up in your inbox. But you got to realize that businesses take time, and the people that might be sharing the dangling shiny object might already have a large social media following. They might be going from a business to a business because they know that they can send out a post or an email and they can make a lot of money because they have a large social following. But businesses take time. I'm living proof of that. And it takes time to build a business and build it the right way. You just have to be committed, and you have to dig deep, and you have to decide. Going back to that again, you have to decide why. You have to know why you want it, right? You have to know, if you, plain and simple, when it comes to goals and achieving, if you want, as an example, I want to earn, and it doesn't matter what the opportunity is, if I want to earn $5,000 a month in passive residual income, you have to know why you want that. What's that money going to do for you? And you have to decide that you're going to figure out what it's going to take to go get that, because plain and simple, if you don't know what you're reaching for, you're never going to get it. The universe is never going to give it to you. So if you're getting caught by the dangling shiny object, you just need to make a decision of why you want something and then decide to actually go build it and achieve it. And that's where treating your business like a business is crucial. Time blocking your time out, organizing the time, and actually treating your business like an actual business. Because if you treat it like a hobby and you just sign up for every other opportunity that rolls by you, you're never going to make it. It's never going to happen. There's no easy button in life. There's no easy button in opportunity seeking. You're not going to push a button and then back to that scratch ticket, lottery ticket mentality. You're not going to push a button and it's instant commissions.
Yes.
You have to set up your business, treat it like a business so it can pay you like a business. Learn, develop, grow your skill sets, and get better at being a business owner. That's what's going to help you long-term avoid the shiny object.
What I did, I dive in pretty deep in this question we're talking about, discussion. I have a mentor that I asked the same question to. Billions of dollars everywhere he goes. Anything he touched, let's just face it, those mentors are out there. This particular one says, people, because of the world we live in today with the internet, all the chatter that's going on with social networks, people are addicted like they used to be. I'm sure you remember going to meetings and people are addicted to the feeling of feeling good and feeling that they part of something that's great. And they join a company for that reason. Sometimes not just for the money, but just feeling good,
Mm-hmm.
the excitement. And then all of a sudden it dwindles out. And then they look for something else so they can get that same feeling somewhere else. And so we used to have companies where you have to go in and you have to buy certain products. You have to have your shelf filled with books and tapes and then you have like Jim Tolton and you have other people that are very famous on you buy their tapes and all this and so on. Well, most people are doing that still. They still doing it. They go on, they listen to webinars and they go, oh, I feel good. I'm going to join in on that one. And then boom, 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later, they join something else. I looked at this and I said, people will sign up for your company, my company, whatever company we represent at that time, and they go join something. And in a matter of 45 to 60 days, some of these people are doing it because they're not making any money. Okay, so they're become a predator's dream because they caught them at the right time. They're not making any money, so the shiny object comes up in front of them, and they go, "Oh, well, they're making money here, so let me go over here." For those reasons, but yeah, everything you're saying is true, folks. We're speaking on experience here. I hope that you're getting something out of this. And I hope you're writing down some of the things that you are getting out of it because you will be facing these walls in your business.
I think it's important to note too, Carl, that like you guys can face some of this personally yourself, or you're going to start to see your team face some of this as you bring people on board, whether it be direct level or, if you're in an MLM and it's 6 levels down, there's always going to be retention opportunities because people are out there searching for the next best thing. The grass is greener somewhere else. It's that shiny ball lottery ticket mentality where people can go get results. And just a couple of quick tips on that is one of the things that I've found for me is helping not only myself stay tuned in and focused and treating my business like a business, but also helping the team and my following and my group stay kind of in tune and plugged in. Is I know you've mentioned kind of community a few times, kind of that warm, feel good feeling. And this is where I think I mentioned this last week, but something called ILT. If you want to start to stand above and you want to start to kind of really develop into a leader, to a mentor, so you can achieve your big term, longer goals, is commit to something like ILT, invest, learn, teach, where you invest your time, sometimes money, you learn something, and then you turn around and teach that to others. And when you can commit to yourself learning new things and then turning around and teaching those things to other people, then you're going to be committed to teaching your team, your community, your downline, your following to, pay attention to you and stick with it and stick on your team, because you're going to be there to teach, educate, train, and motivate them. And that's going to help them stay engaged. That's going to help your retention. But it's also, when you are teaching something, you're also learning it even more at the same time. So it's going to also force you to get better because you're committed to that. You're treating your business like a business. So ILT for me is definitely something that it's changed my business. It's changed my life. It's changed my results. So that's kind of like a little sub golden nugget there in the whole shiny ball syndrome thing, where you can start applying that, and that's going to help you personally. That's going to help your team.
Yes, I truly believe that. Scaling up, if being a mentor, you have to teach them how to scale up, how to measure their goals week to week, so they can be in touch with that. Also, being surrounded with those 5 or 10 people that's going to keep them engaged. Okay. Anytime you have a problem, being able to dial your mentor or your group leader or your team, getting on the calls, this is a business, like you said. This is not a hobby. I mean, there's people now been with companies 10, 20 years, and they're not making over $200, $300 a month. I always say, if that's the case, you can go get a paper route and make more.
True.
But you have to be engaged. You have to stay engaged in order to achieve whatever you're trying to achieve in your life, financially or just self-development. You have to be engaged. Knowing your reason why, always remind yourself, look in the mirror every morning and say, hey, I'm reminding myself this morning that it's going to be a great day. Always having that good feeling. Planning before you go to sleep. One thing this is what I do, and maybe this can help some people too. And you can elaborate on this. We have 5 minutes left. Before I go to sleep, I actually write down what I would do. Just one thing, what I would do the next day.
Mm-hmm.
The next day. And I can measure my growth by just clearing out that one thing that's priority before I go to sleep. So I write it down. When I wake up, boom, I go right to it. In my case, interviewing,
Mm-hmm.
taking my show to the next level, what I need to do, how many letters I need to put out. First, I need a letter to put out to send out to all the people I will interview, right? Making sure it's a professional draft letter. I send it out, and then whoever comes back, those people are priority, especially when I send them out to those individuals. They're a priority, and I put them on my schedule, like we did here. And being able to take care of business. This is a business. Number one, take care of business. Don't, say, hell, I'll do that another time, especially if it has something to do with business. You have to measure your growth by taking care of business. Like, you're a man of honor. And I want people to understand you have to be a person of honor, okay? That you will show up on time, that there's no excuses to stop you for dedicating your time to do certain things for other people. It gets bigger than you. If I'm saying this right, it's bigger than you. It's not just you. You're there to help other people achieve their goals.
Yeah. 1,000,000%. I mean,
Yes.
It's a lot of people. Initially, you get into it, an online business or a home-based business, to make money, but you quickly realize that in order to do that, you got to help other people. So some people want to do that and they don't, but
Yes.
most people do. Most people do. And when you realize that you can help other people achieve their goals and their dreams, or even earn their first dollar online, to me, it's every time it happens, every single time it happens, when you help, someone who's brand new online, that's never had a home-based business before, and they make their first dollar, it's such a good feeling. And then it's like, I know they and I want to shout that from the rooftop, like post it in the group and be like, so-and-so just got started yesterday. They made their first sale today. Awesome. Congratulate them. Boom. And it's such a good feeling. So
it's a win.
Yeah, it's a huge win. And I'll I want to chime in on something you said about, like, before you go to bed, you write down one thing that you want to accomplish the next day. I do the same exact thing. So, there's a clue right there, success leads clues. Yes. But I do the same exact thing. So when I'm sitting up here in the office, and then, whatever the end of the day is, if it's 3, 4, 5 o'clock, whatever, and I go downstairs, and then I, start getting ready for dinner, and, I kind of end my working day, so to speak. Before I leave this desk, I will literally sit down. So these things that are written here, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things that are written right here. I wrote these down yesterday. So that way, when I get up here in the morning and I sit down at my desk, I already know what I'm going to work on. So it's really, really simple. And the other thing for me, one last thing, is as I go to bed at night, I listen to, these are meditations right here. And, I don't get paid to share this with you. So these are meditations on something called the solfeggio scale. Mm-hmm. And the solfeggio scale is something that's basically like trance meditation. But each of these 6 meditations, you can go to the App Store or Google Play or whatever. They're designed to serve a specific purpose. But one of them specifically is all about focus and productivity. So a lot of the times I'll go to bed and I'll either have this playing on my phone, or I'll put my headphones in and I'll fall asleep to it. So that way I'm going to bed, and when I'm getting down into the deeper waves of, delta, theta, beta, all that stuff, I can really program my mind as I'm going to bed to stay really laser focused. And trust me, like, when I get up the next day, I'm like ready to go. I got my stuff written down. I come up here, I'm laser focused. Those are things for me that are super helpful and super critical.
Beautiful, beautiful. Daniel, we're going to definitely invite you back. We're going to
Stu, part 3.
do that. But you know what I'm thinking we can do? We can maybe have on our channel, because when our app comes out, oh, by the way, we're testing it now, so it's going to be coming out sooner than we think. It'd be our own like YouTube channel, but it's going to be pretty awesome when it happens. Definitely want to have that inventory down at the bottom with your name on it. And every time we interview you, it'll be there in your category. Okay, so people can go there anytime they like and listen to you through our channels. Okay. So, but you speak from your heart, and I got to tell you, when a person is sitting there listening, if they can't feel you, they're gone. It's like when you watch a movie, if you don't feel the movie, you turn the channel.
Yep.
Okay? So, folks, what you guys are getting is reality, a dose of reality, success reality, I like to call it. And we're going to keep bringing this to you. Once again, this is Carl Douglas from Home-Based Business Review. Our guest today was Daniel Kump. Okay, and I gotta say that I'm sure you did pick up mountains of nuggets. Use them. You know, it's if you don't use them and apply them, why you here?
Yeah, you can watch all the videos in the world you want, especially like when you're new and you get into a back office. You can watch all the training videos you want, but if you don't take action on what you're learning,
Yes,
it's irrelevant.
Yeah, and you're getting this experience. You know, we're not people who are just going to find someone who wants to sell you something. We're people giving you knowledge, information that's going to help you achieve your goals so you can become great. That is what we're here for. And I hope you will come back soon, Daniel, again. We would love for him, like I said, to come back. But it's Carl Douglas from Home Based Review saying,